When it comes to planning for your retirement, having a solid plan is key. That's why retirement income strategist Chris Patterson is here to share tips on how to protect our portfolios. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm pretty good, thank you very much. I'm going to be a lot more knowledgeable as well after this conversation. So what exactly is the sequence of returns risk?
Yeah, so the sequence of returns risk is literally the sequence of the returns that you're getting as you retire. So just as a very quick example, if you see 3 negative years at the beginning of your retirement, that is your sequence of returns. And it can be extremely detrimental to your retirement assets and your retirement income if it's not managed properly. And the challenge, of course, is we have no idea what the sequence of those returns is going to be. So we've got to mitigate that risk to the best of our ability.
So does it still exist if the market is trending upward?
So it doesn't, it still exists in retirement, in what we call the distribution phase. In the accumulation phase, before you begin taking income as you are working and accumulating assets in your retirement accounts, it doesn't exist at that point. It is only during that distribution phase, and it's regardless of if the market is going up or going down, the sequence of returns risk still exists. So we have to be very cautious as we're pulling money out of those accounts.
So in what ways can sequence of returns risk affect your actual retirement plans?
Yeah, so the easiest way to describe it is that if you are taking money out, we call it catching a falling knife, or trying to catch a falling knife. If you are taking money out of your retirement accounts when we're seeing consecutive down years, think back to 2000, 2001, 2002, 3 negative years consecutively. If you're taking money out of the accounts at that time, you're going to do irreparable damage to those accounts if you aren't mitigating that risk. And so that's the danger, is just taking the income out as the markets are declining.
So what strategies can people implement to mitigate this risk and protect their retirement portfolio?
Yeah, so there's various mitigation strategies. There are stop loss features or what we call trailing stop loss features. There are option strategies that can be implemented. Those can be fairly complex and somewhat expensive. There are also insurance strategies via annuities, via life insurance that are excellent at protecting retirement accounts and mitigating that sequence of returns risk. It's based on the client's situation, and the client's kind of understanding of those strategies really determines how or when those get implemented.
Coming from an expert like yourself, what are some common myths when it comes to investing for retirement?
Yeah, I'd say probably the most common myth is sort of around the amounts that you need to accumulate in your retirement accounts. A lot of folks will be surprised that there's an old rule called the 4% rule, which was really created in the early 90s, and kind of a different environment when that was created. You can, in a lot of cases, pull out more than 4% from your retirement accounts, which also sort of parlays into maybe not needing to accumulate quite as much as some folks would sort of kind of scare you into believing that you need to accumulate. Other myths are really around, how assets should be invested. The sort of kind of old school approach around, a 60-40 allocation or a 70-30 allocation where you've got equities and bonds may not work as well. We certainly saw some those quote unquote safe bond allocations saw some declines. If we look back, going 2020, 2021, 2022. So there are a lot of kind of myths, but also strategies that folks aren't aware of that can really help to parlay into a very comfortable retirement if they're implemented, ahead of their retirement, not midway through it.
I guess one thing rings true, though, always, which is it's never too early to start planning or thinking about it.
Well, that's absolutely the truth, and you hit the nail on the head. I mean, if you're, a year, 2, 3 years away from retirement, there's certainly still time to kind of plan and prepare for what your retirement income will look like and how to execute and implement some of the mitigation strategies that we referred to. But at the end of the day, retirement is all about the income that you can generate from it. It's really going to feed your livelihood and how you live your life in retirement. So certainly the sooner the better in terms of planning. I think we would all agree with that.
Yeah, great. Chris, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
To learn more about how all of this can impact your retirement, visit innovatemyplan.com.